Right now at 4, it's not often Republicans and Democrats in Congress agree, but that wasn't the case for members of a bipartisan committee taking the CEO of TikTok to task. Take a listen.
You damn well know that you cannot protect the data and security of this committee or the 150 million users of your app.
I don't trust anything that was being said in there about who has access to the data.
Joining me now to discuss the larger implications is Meet the Press moderator Chuck Todd. So Chuck, lawmakers, they grilled Chu, that's TikTok CEO, for 5 hours in D.C. They asked a variety of questions, all really surrounding national security. So the bottom line is they believe that TikTok, which is owned by a company in China, is a threat because of its influence and its access to the American people. What's the bigger story here?
Well, look, I think there's a couple things. Number one is I thought the TikTok CEO did a horrendous job of defending their practices. If anything, I think he created more suspicion, not less. The fact that he admitted that when they're able to try to figure out if somebody's lying about their age to be on TikTok, well, they look at their other their profile and you're like, wait a minute, you do what? You know, he almost sort of fessed up to even more surveillance, if you will, however you want to call it. It's part of the whole data vacuuming that they've done that creates this algorithm that seems to be astoundingly accurate at keeping people on the app to scroll. So I do think he didn't do so hot there, and I think that the real problem I've come away with, though, is do you really separate out TikTok from the rest of the social media companies, right? I understand we should be more concerned about an adversary like the Chinese Communist Party having access to all our data than perhaps Mark Zuckerberg over at Facebook. But Mark Zuckerberg having it should be a problem too. So I do think if you're going to tackle this issue in social media companies, we should be tackling this issue of securing our data in social media companies hard stop. And if you're concerned about the influence of the Chinese Communist Party on TikTok, we should be concerned about that too.
And Chu actually did call out Facebook by name, saying, Facebook has security data concerns as well. Let's switch gears and talk about what's happening right now with former President Donald Trump. It's been a week since a U.S. district judge ruled that special counsel Jack Smith's office presented sufficient evidence to establish that the former president committed a crime. He predicted that he would be arrested by Tuesday. Tuesday has passed. This morning, he talked about the implications of arresting a former president. He's set to speak tomorrow. What do you predict is going to happen next with this?
Well, look, I'm not going to predict anything other than I assume former President Trump is going to say stuff that isn't true. And I think that's this is the struggle we all have of covering the former president. All of us knew what he was saying about being arrested and all that stuff. We're like, I don't think this is true. Maybe he knows something we don't. But is this one of his distractions? Well, we now know this was one of his distractions. And you brought up the issues that I think are really roiling him right now. And that is the fact that attorney-client privilege is being thrown out the window for this classified document case. The other, he's putting all of this time and energy into trying to get folks fired up about this Manhattan lawsuit and Stormy Daniels, because what's happening in the special counsel investigation and what's happening in Georgia, the walls are closing in on him there legally, and they're closing in quickly. And I think as his political strategy, he views the Manhattan case, because it's about Stormy Daniels and something that feels a little bit older in the news cycle, that if he could somehow make it all seem like it's about Stormy Daniels, that the impact of the other two legal problems won't be as great on him politically. So look, I will say this: the thing I took away this week is he's still in charge of this Republican Party, because he snapped his fingers and the party jumped.
Interesting stuff for sure. And Chuck Todd, your insight, as always, super helpful in figuring what some would call a swamp out. So thanks so much for doing that. And for more with Chuck Todd, make sure you tune in to Meet the Press this Sunday at 10 a.m. right here on WCNC Charlotte.